Man, this looks older than I remember. Speed. Released in June of 1994 with a runtime of 1 hour and 56 minutes and directed by Jan de Bont, starring Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock and Dennis Hopper. Production budget of 30 million, a domestic take of 121 million, a foreign take of 229 million, for a worldwide total of $350 million. This in turn giving them a nice little profit of $320 million. You can see why they went and made a sequel. Pity it sucked. Characters. Jack Traven, played by Keanu Reeves. Jack is your very stereotypical, super macho, super capable, all action star police officer. I don't know if they ever say SWAT, but he definitely behaves like a SWAT team member. Or at least the Hollywood version of a SWAT team member. He's fairly bright, he's a quick thinker in stressful circumstances, he assesses things sharply, and then proceeds along the most blunt force option. He's also a product of the 90s action genre. Let's be honest, there was zero depth of this character, but he did do everything he needed to do, very suitable for the role, and at least had a, representation of a personality. Sandra Bullock as Annie, well, she went and picked up all the missing personality and brought it to the fore. Annie was fun. Annie was quite an enjoyable, sassy, suitably panicky at times sort of character. I really enjoyed her. I liked watching her overreact to everything that was happening around her. Maybe she wasn't overreacting. Maybe just compared to Keanu Reeves, she's overreacting. She could have just been acting normally. But Keanu is, well, very Keanu, isn't he? Hold up. I know. I love Keanu Reeves too. The guy is fantastic. But let's be honest, a lot of his roles were very, well, wooden plankish. This is one of them. Anyhow, Annie is your everyday hero. She is not specially trained. She is not specially motivated, well, other than to survive. She's nothing other than someone who's on the bus. And it's really, really fun having her there. I really enjoyed the character of Annie almost all the way through this movie. Dennis Hopper as the villain, Howard Payne. Howard Payne was sinister. I'm not sure if he was a super well-developed villain, but as far as a 90s action villain goes, this was good. This guy was on point. He was a very sinister, controlling manipulator. Very smart, always ahead, always thinking ahead. He's planned all these things out a lot. You could see he was deranged. You could see there was a whole bunch of things wrong with this guy. He wasn't Looney Tunes until the very end, where I kind of think, I'm not sure what the writers or whatever direction was going at the very end. The very end of this movie is kind of average for all the actors. But anyway, Payne, I enjoyed him as a villain. One shot, interesting villain. So characters, yeah, characters get a 3. There's nothing to really dislike here. Oh, and the support actors, everyone else on the bus, they were actually what made this movie really interesting to watch. All their interactions with each other, with Traven. It was nice. I really enjoyed it. And you got attached to these characters. You really got kind of invested in their little adventure, hoping that they're going to come out okay. And you weren't really sure. You never knew if they were going to make it or not. I reckon, actually, now that I think about it, those support characters lifted this movie. Without them, it would have been a one dull sandwich. Thanks, support actors. It's a 3. Story. Yeah, another real simple one. There's a mad bomber on the loose. He's trying to get his millions of dollars. Jack Traven and his best buddy Harry thwart his first attempt. So he comes back later with a new plan. And that plan involves both delicious revenge and millions and millions of dollars. 3.75, which is an odd number, very specific number. Maybe he's been shopping a lot and knew exactly what he wanted. I don't know. Either way, there's a bomb on the bus, and once that bus goes over 50, it's armed. If it drops below 50, bang, everybody dies. Lots of fireworks and fun. Jack Traven's on the case, though. He commandeers a vehicle, climbs on board, and begins to go about, well, saving the day, and as many people as he can to do it. Now, all the fun of the story comes from Jack trying to figure out how to stop the bus, how to save the people, how to outsmart the mad bomber, and... no, actually, that's about it. As for the actual story itself, hey, they go charging around the streets of some city I can't quite remember. I'll put it up here. And they bash into things and they run over stuff and they crash all around the place. And it's fun. It's like a destruction derby with an actual purpose. Jack on the bus is the primary story, or the support story, all the cops in the background trying to figure out who the bomber is, how to deal with him, how to track him down. Harry running around coordinating things from behind. Very good. It's very sad, actually. I'm upset that he gets taken out. I mean, it's dramatic, yes, and it's pretty good writing, actually, the way he gets blowed up. But at the same time, that kind of pulled some of the heart out of the movie, to be honest. When that happened, I felt like the movie was missing something. And then later on, when all the passengers get off the bus and they're all rescued and the whole bus thing is resolved, I kind of felt like the whole movie stopped. Then it picks up again as they've got to chase the bomber on a train, and we repeat and rinse. It doesn't work at that point. At that point, you're like, we've kind of done it. We've done this. We've seen this. Honestly, the story is paper thin. But gee, you have some fun. So story, well, I'll be giving that one a 3 as well. The story is very simple, but it kept you engaged. It kept you on board. You felt invested in all the support characters. You felt invested in pretty much everyone. And whilst it is just a sandwich story, here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the filler. At the same time, it's a really nice sandwich. It's a sandwich that you want to go back and eat again. Yeah, you're really happy with that sandwich. I haven't had dinner yet. Can you tell? So yeah, this particular sandwich gets a 3. It's not that bad at all. Yeah, the ending's a little dry, but hey, everything else keeps it good. Look and feel. Okay, let's start with the fact that this was so very 90s. Camera angles and all the different shots used, the music that was playing, the tactical gear, the uniforms, the buildings, the conversation, the film grain, the film quality, the style and design of everything is very, very 90s. Probably my favorite era for action movies, to be honest. Just that look. I just really like that look. I don't think there's anything more 90s than the opening shot where you got the airborne cop car for no reason flying over the camera to land in front of you, kind of a screaming halt. Everyone pile out, grab the gear and run inside. There ain't no reason for that, but it was great. Also set the tone for the entire movie, I must say. Visually, the story was quite well paced. They took its time every now and then, but then moved things along as it needed. Having the bus was cool. The use of the bus, the use of the other vehicles around the bus, the cop cars, the bikes, and that big flatbed, that was also very cool. Lots of other things like old school payphones, and having to borrow the car phone to make all the calls. I mean, it was so 90s. It's kind of like screamingly, almost painfully 90s. The stunt work was quite breathtaking for the time. I remember watching Speed at the cinemas and coming out of that rushed with adrenaline. I was pumped. I wanted to run all the way home. I was actually fit back then. It's annoying to think about it, actually. Now, some of the stunts were a little contrived. Some of the shots you can really see the effects or the tricks they needed to use to do it. I mean, it's not bad. It doesn't pull you out of the moment, but it's noticeable. One thing with that stupid train sliding along on its side down the main street, you see sparks coming off the bottom, then they have a different angle, and you see the sparkler sitting what? About that far off the ground, kicking out the sparks they need for the shot. You probably shouldn't have taken that angle, really. But hey, it still worked. Look and feel is really quite good. It sets the scene, it never drops the ball, it encourages you to get into the movie, it never pulls you out. And the way they film this, the way they shoot it, actually covers up and improves any flaws or problems that the movie has as it goes along. I'll be giving Look and Feel a 3.25. Script and dialogue. For the product of its time and the sort of movie it is, it's pretty good. The cops sound like cops. They sound like what you'd expect them to sound like. They're mates, they're buddies, they're serious when they need to. There's a fair bit of professional jargon thrown around there, and that feels right. All the civilians react in ways you kind of expect. You're expecting the panic, you're expecting the gasps and the shocked looks on their faces and all that sort of carry on. So that was quite nice. I didn't mind that at all. And everyone on the bus, all the support actors, really did a good job. None of the characters were forgettable, and none of them, thankfully, were regrettable. Quite a few funny little lines. They weren't really meant to be ha, joke out loud funny, just circumstantially amusing. When two of the passengers are screaming at each other, one of them says, "How about we take it outside?" And they're on a bus. I like that. I like that sort of thing. That's kind of clever. The villain's very hammy. He's quite over the top in all his dialogue and his carry-on and his madman routine, which Hopper does perfectly. Keanu Reeves delivers all his lines quite well. He's got that soft growl going on. He's got the tough guy speech down pat. Some of the lines are a bit clunky, but that's not his fault. And Travin and Annie carrying on, that was kind of cool too. I enjoyed their dialogue. I enjoyed their back and forth. Again, a bit stilted, a bit hammy, a bit clunky, but it never seemed to be their fault. It never seemed to be from lack of their effort in delivery, that's for certain. And once again, all the support actors delivered everything exactly. Very, very good. All that dialogue, everything in the background, very nice. I will say, I forgot how much swearing was in this movie. Wow, the 90s. They packed these films full of it, didn't they? It wouldn't bother very many people at all, I'm sure. But it did manage to catch me off guard. I don't remember it being like that. Let's talk about some of the best moments in the movie. When the bus is like screaming around corners, everyone's yelling and trying to hang on, and they're trying to pull the bus around, and it's tipping and crashing around the place, and bits of boat breaking off. That felt believable. Now, I'm quite certain that physics say no. Okay, for most of this movie, the physics behind it are shot. But they've done it in such a way that you're not thinking about that at the time. You don't think about this until afterwards. And even then, you're not really focusing on that because they present it well, they shoot it well, that they give you everything you need to believe it. You get into the Hollywood physics of the moment. And of course, there's the big poster moment, the jump. That jump when the bus leaps across the 50-foot gap, lands on the other side, and carries on. That was very cool. We'll get to the problems with that in a second, but overall, the music building up, the different shots building up, all the actors building up the scene, then that jump, bus sails across this gap, down onto the next level, crashes and bounces along. And the reaction of the people on the bus was fantastic. They're cheering, they're hugging, they're high-fiving. You got one dude just going, "We are way out of control." And I loved it. I loved that sort of thing in these movies. It was fun. They doubled down on everyone's hoorah moment afterwards. And that was great. The problem, it's a bus. It sure has gone, bleh. Especially when they pan around to show the gap from a distance. Now, when you watch the bus do its jump, it looks like it goes from here to here. When you see the shot, it's actually that. Again, bus should have just gone free, crash. That should have been it. And also, as the bus goes charging up and they cut to the front, they cut to it and you see this bus just go, whoa, off nothing pretty much, maybe a little gap, and just whee. There's no incline, there's no reason for the front to kick up, there's no reason at all for that to work. But who cares? The bus makes the jump, everyone's cheering, and we're off for the rest of the movie now. It all really only falls apart at the very end. This is where he could have benefited from a nice manhunt. All the cops fanning out through the city, locating him, tracking him to his building, the shootout, the chase down, the punch out on a roof, or a gunfight in an alleyway. Something like that. That would have been a real nice tie-off to a very cool action flick. But they didn't do that. Now, a train goes faster than a bus. Yes. But it's also harder to portray this because you got nothing whizzing past that really gives you the sense of motion. Sure, light, light, post, light, light, post. But it really doesn't convey the feeling of speed, the feeling of motion as a bus, which is a fair bit slower, zipping past cars on a highway. That's the first problem. Second problem, we've already seen it in the same movie less than 5 minutes beforehand. Lastly, it's the three main characters and no one else. Alright, apart from the train driver who gets shot and killed. But it's everyone doing what you've already seen, appearing to be slower with the same resolution of, I'm gonna speed it up. And then wrestling on the roof of a train. Not really necessary. Doesn't make any sense. In fact, it's the least sensible part of this already very silly movie. Not a big fan. It really kind of let the whole movie down to me. So yeah, script and dialogue, I'll be giving this one a 3. Not because there's necessarily anything wrong with it. I mean, 3 is good, as I've said before. It just, the end of it really stopped them from being anything better. So, oh well, hey, 3's still good. Fun factor. Well, having seen this movie again, and I think I haven't seen it for about 15 years now, I had fun with this. This was a good ride. It was a nostalgia trip, a proper one. It was entertaining, it was exciting, it was the whole rush of the whole scenario, there were characters to get invested in, there was bad guys to beat. It was fun. I had a good old time with this movie. No dramas there. Fun factor, you know what? I'll be giving this a 3.25. Final score. Well, you add all these up, you get yourself 15.5. I had me some fun. I enjoy this silly old movie. Would I recommend it? Yeah, as a 90s action flick, go for it. Have yourself a ball. Just be aware that language gets a little heavy if you're watching it with people underage. That's all I'd say about that. So who else remembers watching this one? And has anyone never seen it? I'd like to know that. I would really like to know that. As usual, I hope you've enjoyed my review. Please like and subscribe, share my review around. And as always, I hope you're having a great week and that you go and find some time to watch a movie.